I hear go get the money, so I go get it. Hate means I do something right, so I'ma let him. Yeah, I'ma let him, yeah, I'ma let him. I hit the nail on the head, yeah, I'ma let him. All I hear go get the money, so I go get it. Hate means I do something right, so I'ma let him. Yeah, I'ma let him, yeah, I'ma let him. I hit the nail on the head, yeah, I'ma let him. Early bird go get the worm in the dirt. I can show you what I'm worth, my hands in the dirt. From where they look when you not, a hand in your purse. Hell if you think I'm last, last should be first. Go ahead and go feast your eyes. Chefing them, cooking them pies.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And tonight we have a very special guest in for Tiara, who's still away on vacay. Ron H, or Ron Squared, as he likes to say, is joining us to recap Godfather of Harlem, Season 4, Episode 2. And it's titled Country Boy. And before we jump into the recap, we got to get the housekeeping out the way. As Tiara would say, please like and subscribe, push us out far and wide, click the notification bell so you can know whenever we drop our video. And with that,
Before we start, I'd like to say we are a little late on our recap this week. We will do better, so just give us that leeway and
grace.
Grace, and we can start.
Okay, well, we can start with Country Boy getting off the Greyhound bus
in
New York from North Kakalaki.
I love the name
Frank
Country
Lucas.
Boy.
Mr. Frank Lucas. We've been waiting on him for some seasons now. You know, we said in the last recap that we wanted to see Frank on the show, and here he is. And he's getting fresh off the bus, ready for capers and
capers.
Yeah, capers and robbing and everything, because he's coming to the city. He don't have much money. So I'm gonna say this. Yeah, I'm on the doing this recap with two fellas, and they probably won't appreciate it, but I'm gonna say this anyway. They have Rome Flynn playing Frank Lucas. Talk about a glow up for Frank Lucas. Frank Lucas wish he was that fine. But anyway.
Oh, see.
Frank Lucas wish he was that fine, but I digress.
See when I talk about Mayme and her beauty. My two counterparts, they go crazy.
Stuff, so you got to give me some grace. So anyway, Frank Lucas, he gets off the bus, he sees this card game, and he's watching. And just because he's a country boy don't mean that he's slow, that he that he a bumpkin and stuff. He played it cool. He played the game. It was called Find the Lady.
I've actually played that game in New York years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, had a same way walking down. Where was I? I think I was in Jamaica, Queens. No, I was going to Brooklyn, and had a dude out there doing that find the lady thing, and it's a joke, but I had to put that in. I know how Frank felt when he lost his money.
Yeah, he got hustled. He got hustled.
It's a hustle for sure.
Yeah, and when he observed it and peeped that the white gentleman was in on it with the hustler, we see he got his money. He took all the money and he cut dude's hand.
Yeah,
and then he let the dude know what his name was. And that was our first introduction to Frank. And we're going to talk more about Frank because he really made his presence known this episode. But before we delve more into that, we got to talk about Chin, because in front of Bumpy's club, Chin is dropping garbage off in front of Bumpy's club because he's still pissed off that Bumpy won't let him in on his business venture. And so I want to ask you guys how y'all felt about that.
Well, I mean, I think Bumpy did exactly what he was supposed to do. He wanted to go and talk to Chin and let Chin know that this isn't cool. Chin has got to grow up, man. It's unfortunate that he can't see Bumpy's plan coming to go into fruition. He's upset because Bumpy won't let him in, but it's that old adage, what black folks can't have something for themselves. And let's face it, if he did allow Chin in, if he allows Chin in, then the family is in. And
Exactly
then
what he said.
and you know, and Chin can't see the, you know, the light from the dark. And so I'm glad that Bumpy stood on 10 and said, no, you're not going to be a part of this. If this is something I have to do. Now, as far as dumping garbage, uh, man, that's grounds for war.
Hmm.
And Bumpy said just that. You know, you keep this up, and there will be war. But I love
Mm-hmm.
Stella, man. Stella has become one of my favorites this season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stella's Black Widow. She's a boss. And what
Yes,
do you
she
say?
is. I'm I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I guess it's not weird, right? To understand that, yeah, because we know who we're dealing with here. But I'm just surprised that, I mean, like, what more can you take? What more do you want? We made tons of money together. I helped you solidify your position. I even stopped moving the Dochi and you got it to yourself. And then I'm trying to do some different things and you want in on that too because I'm smarter than you, that I got better creative ideas. Like you want to get involved and you couldn't think of this yourself. Like I mean, Jesus, you talk about take. What more can you take from me? Gee.
Listen, we talked about that last week. What I say, manifest destiny. It's
Mm.
Yeah,
never enough.
we
It's
always have
never
to
enough.
be, yeah, we always have to be subordinate. We can't be on top. We have to be, you know, on the lower level. And that's why Chin can't see the forest from the trees, because of
Hmm.
the fact that he just doesn't understand that Bumpy is trying to do something for his people, like Chin and the rest of you do it for your people. You know, and he can't figure that out. Now, he does one thing. I see that he highly respects Bumpy, and that's a good thing.
Hmm.
um, you know, but if he was smart, he would lay off, and you know, maybe Bumpy could find a way to bring just Chin in. But as I said earlier,
Mm-mm.
you bring in Chin, you bring in the family, you
And
bring
that
in
was
the
Bumpy's
family,
point.
and there's no longer
That no, that's what I
community
said.
based.
For us, by us is
Yeah,
what Bumpy was saying.
yeah, yeah.
For
Which
us,
makes
by us.
sense.
No, yeah.
Yeah. And that's, because the next thing you know, you'll be muscled out of your own business. No.
But
He was right to stand on business.
but we talked about
Well,
this last week, and I want to bring it up again. Um, Bumpy putting everything he has on the line for that loan worries me. It really does. And I understand he wants to get out of the business. But the question is, with such a big project, is now the time when you could make that money, have it, pay cash for your project. Now, I don't know. I guess it's six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. But my thoughts are, if you can keep what you have and have a means to make the money to do what you want to do, why not go ahead and do that?
But when is it, you said, now might not be the time, but when is it the time though? I
When
think
he makes the when
most of
he
the time that who people have been successful, they have invested, they have invested all they had,
yeah,
they've had
but
jobs, they've done,
yeah, but in the
they
60s, when we're talking about a black man, particularly a kingpin black man, the chances of him really, you know, being able to start out blank, you know, on his feet and getting the money that he needs is slim to none. My chance, when is enough, when you've made the $3 million, which looks like you could have made on that doogie that was stolen from Chin, or you know, when you made that $3 million, you have it now. Get out of the rat race and get what you want. I just fear that you're giving up your life, because that's once that's gone, it's gone.
right.
yeah, and I think that, I mean, yeah, you make a really good point, Ron, because the other thing too is, while I understand what Bumpy's trying to do and
Right.
his intentions may be good, but
Mhm.
and obviously, brother Malcolm is speaking to him in a
Yeah,
different way.
Right.
yeah.
But he is kind of expanding too fast, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't have enough capital
Right.
to even do this on his own. And when you're depending on banks and other people to give you the money
Hmm.
to finance yourself, you're gonna go
Hmm.
through hurdles because you already made a name for yourself by
Mm-hmm.
slinging dirt this whole time. Everybody knows who you are.
Right.
So I just think he might have been a little too aggressive with the idea of starting all this. It might have been smarter, even if you get out of the doji business and you're like, I'm not doing it no more.
Mm-hmm.
Start small and just keep running the business and building up the cash, the money. It'll take you more time, but at least you can you can do it most likely on your own and not have to depend on somebody else. And you can probably stay away from that a little easier, because once you're in a desperate situation, you need capital and you can't get it anywhere else. You're gonna go back to what you know. So
yeah. I hear you. I think it's because it's only been a year since Malcolm has passed, and you can see that everybody is still feeling the aftermath of that, because he's trying to be a better person because of Malcolm's death. And then Elise is still in the throes of it too, because she's trying to help her man Omar. Like, she knows that Omar has been wrongly convicted, and she knows that it's a conspiracy and things, and so she wants Bumpy to provide protection for Omar, because of that. So everybody, I think, is still in that space when you're grieving, and I think that's where Bumpy is coming from. That's why he probably can't see, like, he's so focused on being, the person that Malcolm wants him to be.
And even Mayme said to Elise that he's a changed man. He's not the same as he was before the death of Malcolm X.
Yeah.
So I get it. I understand. But I think Ron and I have the same vision in terms of what might be best for him. I mean, remember
y'all
that
being
DJ that
practical. Y'all being pragmatic, and I
right.
get that.
And that DJ that they not stole, but grabbed when when one of Chin's guys, was caught by Pettigrew and Chaz, and he had that DJ in the back trunk, and I think one of them said that's enough to make the $3 million that Bumpy needed, and that's the part I'm talking about. Cut it up, make your $3 million.
And
get
not
out of
have
Dodge.
not have the bank and the government in your business, right?
And your back, because they will be on your back.
Right.
He won't get a reprieve from the bank or the government. The government's just, they're etching to jump in and take everything he owns.
Right. Well, with that, I wanted to talk about the visit with Bumpy and Chin, and you alluded to it already, because when Bumpy went to go see Chin, he confronted him about the garbage and everything, and Chin was running his mouth trying to buck up and stuff, and of course, like you said, Bumpy was like, "We'll go to war." Stella is smart. Said she's the Black Widow. She sees the whole board, so she know, like, this ain't gonna end well. This ain't gonna end well. Bumpy my dad gonna end up on the other side of Bumpy's gun,
right?
If he keep playing. And she wisely, like I said, she talks her dad off the ledge, sort of like, "Hey, why don't you just, if you think he stole the doogie, why don't you have a meeting with the families, and they'll sanction Bumpy." But meanwhile, she working behind the scenes. She working behind the scenes, and I was like, "Go, Stella!" Stella got her hands and her tentacles everywhere. Like, we see Stella, she goes to the diner. She done got Teddy's mom. She done brought Teddy's mom back because she was in hiding and stuff. She's still talking to her. She telling Teddy's mom, like, "Hey, Bumpy might be going to war with my dad. I got to do something about it and stuff." She goes to see Bumpy and tells Bumpy, like, "Look, I know you out of the doogie business, but I need your help with this to avoid the war. Avoid the war. It's not good for none of us. We're trying to keep this money thing going." And she even goes to Columbo, and Columbo thinks it's great.
She convinces Joe Colombo.
Yeah,
to
I think he'll
get in
do
on
anything for her. I do. I think he
you know what?
Sweetheart.
You have to be right on that. I think he would go he'd go to hell and back for her, because as we see, he has no love for Bumpy. In fact, he'd rather have him out and killed. But
he wants Chin gone, and that was the thing. She was like, the only way to get
I
get
didn't know
my
which one.
father out of Harlem.
Yeah, it seems like I don't know who he wants gone more, Chin or Bumpy, but I think Chin made it's a
Yeah.
more strategic move for
hmm
Colombo. That is.
It was
Mhm.
because I mean, Chin worked with Bumpy to lock him up and stuff,
Yeah.
and then he was trying to get him killed. So he was like, and then he cut him out the business. He got so of course he wanted him gone. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna stand up. Stella said, "There's the only way we can work is that the Doogie is gone. We're gonna have this meeting with the families. I'm gonna need you to stand up for Bumpy." And we say that it worked because at the end of the day, with the Italian families, it's all about this.
It's all
It's
about
all about
Omar.
the money.
Yeah.
And once they were mad at Bumpy when they got to that meeting because and I guess we probably should back up. We need to back up because of Frank's role in all of this.
Oh yeah.
Frank's role with the Doogie. We gotta back up. It's how we even got to the meeting because once Frank got to town and he hit the guy at the card game, he started robbing everybody. Started robbing everybody and robbing them in front of Bumpy's club. So of course Chance and Pettigrew had to tighten them up. They had to set a trap for them first because they, once their patrons start coming in and they saw that they were being robbed, they were like, well, sheesh, we can't have people thinking that they're gonna get robbed if they come uptown. So they set a trap, found out it was
Right.
Frank Lucas, and they thought that he was with Chen
Right.
and Colombo, realized he was a country boy, and they brought him to Bumpy and saw that he knew who Bumpy was. He knew who Bumpy was, and Bumpy was notorious where they came from and everything. And so Bumpy told him to get him out of there, but he saw an opportunity later to use Frank. And he was just like, I need you to. And once they paid him a visit with Chance and Pettigrew, he told him, I need you to rob Chin Blind, which he did.
That he did.
I
That he
was.
did.
It was interesting that he asked Frank and not Pettigrew or Chance. Why do you think that is?
Because Chin doesn't know that.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
I think
he would know
I think
he would see Chance and Pettigrew coming.
right.
Frank was new, like
Well,
nobody knew him. He
the
was
truck
fresh off the
driver,
bus.
I don't know if the truck driver knew. I don't know that. I don't know if the truck driver knows Chance and Pettigrew.
No,
And
they
besides
know
that,
him. They know
but that's
everybody knows
but
Bumpy's
that's
name.
who. Well, but he had I mean, you can wear a mask. So and they think all black folks look alike anyway. So it really doesn't matter.
Though they are his right hand man, they would have known. And
Well,
what's it
And
called? Go ahead.
and the other thing too is like, would either one of them had done it by themselves?
well,
Probably
that's the
not. They
question,
probably would have done it together, and that would have been the dead giveaway.
right? And
Like
I
two
think
two henchmen coming after us. Bumpy always rolls with these two guys. You know what I mean? The thing about Frank is, one, we're seeing that he has some smarts to pull off a caper by himself. He don't care. He don't need nobody. And two, he is coming from out of town. No one knows him. He's expendable. Something happens, won't miss him.
I don't. I call it cocky. I mean, Frank was really cocky in the manner in which he stole that truck, and I think that's probably when he. And I laughed when he said to Pettigrew and Chance that Bumpy, after all, needed somebody smart to get.
Marty. They told him
And
he said
you know,
right.
and I think that probably the other two would have probably put too much time in trying to figure out how to do this. And Frank was just, hey, I sees the truck come by, he jumps on the truck, and and that's what he had to do. So that was quite cocky. Smart, I'm not sure.
No, he was smart because if you know how where Frank Lucas ended up with the drug trade in Vietnam and all that stuff, he definitely
Oh
was
no,
smart.
no, no.
But he was cocky.
No,
But he
that
was cocky too,
yeah.
though.
Well, I mean, because for instance, when he asked how many people are in the back of the truck, the guy said two, and he said how many guns,
And the
and
guns.
the guy said, well, there are two guns. One has one in his sock or something. Well, suppose he was lying.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's what I'm saying. You had no backup, Frank. You just went blindly into a situation without knowing exactly how armored that truck really was. So
he's a little crazy.
yeah, right.
Yeah, he looked
He's
crazy.
a little cray, and I think that cockiness is what got him over. You know,
Mhm.
so smart. I think he developed, but that was cray.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, he definitely showed that he is not in his mind. I don't think he's long for this world. He'll do what he needs to do to get what he needs to get, and you know, that's a whole nother level of ambition right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think, you know, they don't show you everything. But I don't think that, I mean, even though he might have been, you know, taking the guy's word for it, I think he probably did a little scouting,
I hope
right?
so. I hope
To
so.
understand the route, where the
Yeah.
truck's coming from, who look, you know, there might have been some, you know, seeing who might have gone in the truck. Maybe he didn't see everybody, like, oh, there could be some other guys in there, just trying to get a feel for it. And I think the bottom line is you take the guy for his word, but
Mhm.
you have to, by all means, if I'm going down, I'm taking him down with me. So
Mhm.
if he's lying and they get me, he's going with me.
Your man is going with me, right?
Yeah, I don't know if
You see, his man was like, "Do what he says."
man,
He
look,
was like, he wasn't trying to be.
look, I put myself in Frank's position. If I jumped on that truck, I would have slipped and that'd have been the end of it. So
Well, that's why Bumpy had the conversation with him before he gave him the job. He was like, you know how to use, a piece. You just use that pig sticker. Like he asked him like what he was like, what he did back home. So that was
Mm.
kind of like a job interview right there.
yeah,
So
he
he,
said he's used
so
to he
so
said
I
he
guess
used,
I think Bumpy wanted to see what he
yeah.
was really about and could he do the job.
Yeah, you put him under fire and to see what he if he could come out, you know, like the three
Hmm.
Hebrew boys. So, and
Hmm.
that's and what he did. He stepped out and you know,
Hmm.
no,
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
perfect
I mean,
condition. So,
and you know, the other thing too is, which I didn't you know, say anything about it, but I'm thinking about it now. He is smart, but the
Hmm.
cray part is a big part of it. He's like 50-50. Because the other thing I was thinking about, if he's robbing guys coming out the Geechee Club, okay,
yeah.
fine. He don't know that it's the Geechee Club. He don't know that that's
Right.
Frank's
Well, he
club.
couldn't read. He couldn't read, and that
Well,
was what
yeah,
it was.
maybe
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
But
because
you still hitting this. You're gonna hit the same club.
club, right?
That's the only
Exactly,
club in Harlem. Like you can't
exactly,
move around. Like
right.
what are we doing?
Yeah, he's on a
He just
daily.
he said he had only been there a week. So he probably was going to move on to the next thing. I just think, like you said, I think he was cocky.
Mm.
I do think he was smart. And then he was young. You could tell that he was also really young too.
Yeah,
So,
Mm.
the young folks had that bravado and stuff. And then it's like sometimes they think they're invincible
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and stuff. So I think it was a lot of that too.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so he was supposed to get what was like 63 kilos of the Gucci. Was it? It was
60,
63
60 kilos.
or
It was 60.
63.
Yeah, 60.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay,
60.
so
Mhm.
60. So he was supposed to bring that back. So he brought the bags back to them. But little did we know at the end, and I'll get to that. Yeah, so he brought the bags back to Chance and Pettigrew, and then teased them about being smarter. But he Bumpy had gone to this meeting. Now I'll go back to the meeting. And he said he offered the families, he was like, I'm out the doogie business. So I'll give you the 60 kilos back. The families, that's music to their ears. So they turned on Chin. They were like, you know, they took a vote right there and was like, you got to get up out of here. Because, Columbo spoke up for him and was like, hey, we can get our money back. He can go, and Tommy was like, look, you cut off my fingers. You cut off my
Yeah,
fingers.
well,
So
yeah. He
so
said,
peace. Gave him the peace sign with the two fingers he had left.
oh,
Like deuces, going to Miami. But and
That
he
was
said,
funny.
no, we done. And they made the deal with Bumpy to get the doogie back. But the problem is, he thinks he got 60 kilos of the
yeah,
doogie.
he's
He
got.
don't know that Frank then took some of the doogie.
I
So
tried
that's
to.
go ahead.
No, I tried to count how much Frank had. You know, it was a quick. They showed the scene a little quick, so I couldn't really make a count. But I'm thinking maybe I don't know, maybe 6 kilos he kept or something. I couldn't tell.
I don't know,
After
but it's
four, I
gonna be
couldn't
a
tell.
problem.
All I
It's,
know
Oh,
is that was a lot.
it
I'm
was
like,
a
it
you
was
want
a
to
lot.
take a
lot.
little off the top. That is
Yeah,
Oh my
not
that's a
good
gosh,
off
lot
that
the
was
off.
top.
Yeah. Now you still want to say how smart he is? So I guess we're going to see just how smart he really
but
is.
we
I
are. We
don't
are gonna
know.
see how smart he is because I'm like, does he even know what to do with it?
Well,
And
he
and I'm
makes
like, and you're stealing from Bumpy, and this is gonna be a problem with the Italian families too, because they're gonna be like, oh, you told us that we had 60 kilos and you're short. So what
well,
happened?
somebody's going to come up short and find that what they got is sugar, and that's where the problem. So one of the family is going to come up short with when they split it or divide that up, and that's where the problem would come
The
up.
problem is gonna be with Bumpy because they're
So
expecting to get that bag back
no,
from Bumpy.
I know I agree with that. So I'm simply saying, and then when Bumpy finds out, what can only be one person,
Yeah,
and that's
that's why I
fine.
said it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a
So
problem.
so
It's
my
gonna be a
my
problem with Bumpy and Frank.
right. So that goes back to my first question. Just how smart are you, Frank? I know you're a little raw, country, because things are a little slow down there where you are. But if you're going to be in this game in New York, man, you got to tighten it up. You got to tighten it up.
Yeah. And the other thing too is he's going, I mean, most likely if people just do their due diligence, like you guys are saying, it's gonna get found out that something's not right.
Yeah.
But the flip side of it is knowing how this guy moves and how he don't really care too much.
Right.
He's probably gonna start slinging in somebody's area. And they're gonna like, who are you and how are you? Where'd you get the stuff from?
And how could
And
he
I
know?
don't know if they could find and track down like that's our stuff. But the point is they're gonna know that you moving in their area.
Well,
And
when
especially Frank, Bumpy's out of the game. So
when one of the family discovers that they have sugar and he's peddling the real stuff, they'll know.
yeah.
They'll know. And
Yeah.
I think he better hope Bumpy gets to him before the family does, because if the family
Mhm.
reaches him, they don't know who he is, and they will take care of it
Mhm.
right on the spot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I still can't believe there's two things I wanted to say real quick. I still can't believe he took that much. I was looking at the table. I was like, you serious? Like,
Yeah, that me
how do
too.
you take that
Me
much?
too.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I said too.
Maybe.
And then go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. No, go ahead.
And then he had the nerve to say, Bumpy gonna learn not to mess with Frank Lucas. I was like, what?
Do you know
I was
Bumpy?
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I
how
was
much
like,
did you hear or not hear about
I mean,
Bumpy?
you heard stories about Bumpy. Nobody heard no stories
It's
about
about
you.
you.
But
exactly,
Exactly. I
exactly.
mean, take a kilo, make a few thousand out of it, whatever you can. And if you don't know how to cut it up, you just got some kilo. You just
Yeah,
got a
does he
kilo.
know? I
I
mean,
right.
I mean, there's no indication what he knows, but he's not thinking as far as I'm concerned.
no, he's
That is
not.
true.
He's
No.
not. He's it's gonna be a problem. But I think, they're gonna bump heads, initially, but eventually they're gonna get to a point where, I think that Bumpy is gonna give him a job and mentor him and stuff. But
Right.
they're gonna bump heads at first over this stuff. And then of course, with the Italians too, that's gonna put Bumpy in a tough position with the Italians too. Because
Yeah.
here they didn't voted Chin out and then you didn't deliver on the deal, because now you're short. So
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to definitely be a problem. But I tell you, the other thing too is back to the dinner table scene or the sanction scene. You still get to see Chin Gigante's mindset and how he really does. I don't know if I mean, he might have respect, but is it really respect? Because it feels like he still feels like the way he moves and his thought process, even the way he was acting when everything was happening, he still
Mhm.
is like he's above everybody.
Well, and
Yeah,
then
No one's his equal.
and then
right.
he threatened the family once they X'd him out, and he's threatening them. As I'm like, okay, Chin, you dumber than you look. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know how that's going to work. You were exiled.
Stella,
Take the
Stella
exile.
is clearly Stella is clearly smarter than he is and
If
everything.
I'm where does I mean, you know what? It seems like after Teddy, Stella just got. I mean,
I thought
she.
that too.
Yeah, it's like because and another thing too with Chin, as we saw in the end. Now, if you recall, when Stella wanted to marry Teddy, I mean, it looked like Chin was ready to kill her over that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he was extremely upset.
Hmm.
And he forgives her for going behind his back and setting this exile
But
up.
she got him locked up before too. That ain't the first time she's betrayed him.
I
Because
know, but
remember she was.
yeah, but I'm saying it's just interesting how so much has changed between the two of them. I think
He loves her though. That's
it's
one thing you
obvious
can
he
say
does.
about Chin, that he loves his daughter and he will do anything for her.
Yeah, except marry a black man because
That well, yeah, he was not. He was totally against.
totally
He
against
was
that.
totally against that because
But I guess I part of me feels like because he knows he's affected her life in such a way that he still has that a big level of guilt behind her. I mean, behind
hmm
him, should I say?
hmm
Because of all that. And I think the other thing too is, as much as I mean, I don't know, it was really weird to see that scene and him being so forgiveful. I mean, like forgiving and just I'm just want to walk away from this for now. But it was really interesting because the other thing is he understands that his daughter, like, he raised her to be this way. She saw him and she might even be smarter than him in some ways, or
He
at least
is.
less emotional than he can be. He's a little erratic, he's a firecracker
Yeah.
sometimes. But I think the other thing is that I think he not only does he feel that guilt for what he's done, but I think he also understands that she loves him so much and knew that the way he's going, she might wind up losing him too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because she did do that. Like she saw the whole board. She was just like, we can't have this war because he's gonna end up getting himself killed. She was like, he can already mess up the money for everybody. She was like, you're making more money than you
hmm
were before I started working with you. So
Mm-hmm.
that and like you said, Ron H, I believe that he feels guilty because think about it. She done lost two husbands behind her father.
Yeah.
So he had them killed.
But it also reminded me of a father that had a daughter but would have rather had a son. And I say that because when he was holding her hand and
Mm.
telling her what to expect, that what
Mhm.
she'd have to do, it was almost as if some sort of initiation into um, this thing called you know being in charge, a leader, and it gave me the idea that he was actually talking to his son. He would have rather, because if he had a son, I'm sure he would have brought his son up in that um, into this game. He kind of tried to keep her out as much as he could. I think he wanted her to be just a, you know, simple young lady that goes about, and marry an Italian guy or whomever. But it seems like he has come full circle and decided that, well, she is who she is. She's smart. She seems to understand the game, and he just gave her the cue.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
told her, he was like, to be in this life, do you understand that you're gonna have to make that call to unalive folks?
Yeah,
You can't show any weakness. It could be people close to you that you're
right.
gonna have to make that call on and stuff. And he asked her, "Are you ready to do this?" And without blinking her eyes, she said
She said
yes.
yes,
I was like, "Woo!"
And
and
the
I was
thing is, when she said it, he believed her because he
hmm
already understands how the level of depths where she's gone. I mean, at one point, she tried to unalive herself, right?
yeah.
So he knows, like, when she sets her mind to something, even if it's leaving this world, she'll do it. So I think he was like, you know what? I
But I
She
think
wa-
sent him to
I
jail.
believe her.
She
but I
set
al-
him up. He told her, he said, I know you set all this in motion. So he let her, she was crying and everything and stuff. She didn't deny it, but he knew that she was the one behind him getting ousted.
I also
Mm-hmm.
wondered when he said you may have to take out someone you love. Did he think about himself?
Mm.
Did he think, she may even have to take me out? That was a
That's a
mouthful.
tough one. That is a tough one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You said somebody close to you, you can't show any weakness.
Can't show any weakness.
So that was interesting. So it was like, so Chen is exiled for the moment. The folks are getting what they want temporarily, with Bumpy and Columbo, you getting him out the way and stuff. And we'll see what happens with the Doogie thing now that Frank then messed that up. But I wanted to touch on Elise because, Elise, is still trying to visit Omar and stuff and everything. And Omar is in prison getting beat up and stuff, people trying to get clout off of you know, brutalizing who they think is Malcolm's killer. And he says to her, he's just accepting his fate that, maybe Allah is saying, you need to pay for this and stuff because he was initially involved and trying to assassinate Malcolm and everything. And you see that she was like, don't give up. And what was interesting was like when she talked to Bumpy and she told Bumpy that, this was a conspiracy. He didn't do it. He's an innocent man. And at first it seemed like Bumpy was really dead set against. He's where he belongs. Why do you care? Like, he didn't look like he was gonna help her at first, but he did paid attention when she said it was a conspiracy and stuff.
Yeah,
and so that's what we thought.
Right.
I thought Omar was a goner. Like when they showed him, I like how they did like the parallel scenes of them praying. Elise was praying.
Right.
And then and so was Omar in his cell. And as soon as he was in the middle of his prayer, the other inmates came in there, started beating him up, and they proceeded to stab him. I was like, oh goodness.
Yeah.
I was like, he said, this might be his will. And just in the nick of time, the guard comes in, grabs his hand. Better not do that. You better not let Bumpy Johnson find out. I was like, prayer works, y'all.
Yeah, but I thought, because when you get stabbed in the stomach like that twice, and that's pretty critical. Yeah, that's really critical if you're at the best hospitals. I don't know anything about prison hospitals, but hopefully he makes it out and he's okay with that.
He might. I think if they had kept stabbing him,
well, he would have 2 good
Oh,
ones.
yeah, he would have been over.
Yeah, it was 2 good ones. So it just depends on where, I guess.
Listen, Lobo survived. Power. He got shanked.
He got shanked.
Lobo survived. And that's those of y'all who know we cover Power. That's a Power reference.
Right.
But you know what bothered me? I don't know. Maybe I'm just Elise. My man had, he had a plea bargain on the table, 15, and he's out. And I get it. Don't take something when you didn't do the crime. But if you already said that he didn't do it, and this is a bigger thing, CIA's involved. How you think you gonna get this man off when the alphabet letters are involved in the situation?
I heard that.
But you know what though?
She regretted it. She says she regretted telling him that later. But I'm like, come on. I mean,
But you know what? I thought the same thing and felt the same way because I think I even said something in our last show. But then when we see what happened in this episode, it was probably a good thing he didn't, because had he plea bargained, it would have been on record that he was guilty of murdering Malcolm X. And then Bumpy would have had no other recourse but to believe that he was involved because he pleaded. So I think his standing tall actually saved his life, as opposed to quickening his jail time. So
I mean, unless it didn't turn out that way, but unless if he had a little bit more time to before he had to make his decision, because he only had 24 hours.
He only had 24 hours.
He had a little bit more time. Maybe Elise could have told Bumpy anyway, like, look, they're forcing him to take a plea. He's going to take it because it's going to give him less time, but he's going to need protection.
And that's the only way.
There was not enough time. So
that's the only way that would have worked. But the mere fact you only had 24 hours to make a decision, it's done.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Elise, look, prayer saved him, and so did Elise by putting the plug in Bumpy, and Bumpy saved him.
Elise,
the trifecta effect.
Yes, yeah.
For real.
You know who I want to talk about? I want to talk about Miss Alice Bradshaw.
That's where I was going next.
Going there?
Go ahead, Ron.
this witch. Okay.
Woo!
Oh my gracious. And when she said that, when she called
James Baldwin, a
James
chocolate
Bond,
frog.
oh, I thought Mamie, I thought it
I
was going to
was
be
like, whoa,
over.
she ain't gonna say nothing.
Yeah,
Woo.
I thought it would be over at that point. But Mamie held it down. But this witch, man, and then I guess you have to do what you have to do. But Mamie is just, as much as I love you, Mamie, that'd have been a time that you could have lost it and went right
Mm-hmm.
upside that woman's head. Did you have to call James Baldwin? What did she say? A
A
chocolate, what?
chocolate
Chocolate
frog.
frog.
A frog? A chocolate frog? Really?
Listen, now I'm about to do a shameless plug. A shameless plug because undergrad, I was an English lit major and stuff. So when she started talking about Richard Wright and Ralph Ellison
Yeah.
and James Baldwin, my heart was pitty pat pat. I was like, and then when she called him a chocolate frog, I was like, lady, I probably would have lost it.
I would
And
have
maybe
lost it.
is more demure and control.
Demure.
And you see, she was drinking during the day. Like she was really bothered because
Right.
she had to maintain and stuff.
Yes.
She knew that she was like, I'm getting myself together. I'm having this drink because I know I gotta go meet this lady. And that's the thing. A lot of us had to walk that line and code switch
Yeah.
and everything. Because this lady was just like, oh, I love the idea of a new Harlem and bring the talk about the ghetto and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Yeah, all enthralled about our daily walk of life because all she had to do was stick her toe in it and then leave whenever she wanted to. And then at the cafeteria or diner rather, she's just enamored by being in the hood and eating their food. And I'm like, lady, I must smack that wig off your head.
well,
It's
hopefully we'll get
riveting.
this. Go ahead.
No,
Go
I'm
ahead,
just
Ron.
gonna say she was like enthralled. It's riveting. Like it's
Yes.
Uh-huh.
like that feeling she had, and you could tell. And look, I understand. I just want to say, like, shout out to Mayme for keeping her composure, understanding the bigger goal and why she's doing this. And also, Mayme is like the way when you've been moving like this with Bumpy Johnson and moving to the levels on your own
Mhm.
and the circles you've been in, you understand that sometimes you're gonna have to deal with some very uncomfortable stuff while you make your new relationships. Because once you get the relationships, maybe it's some you can cut ties because now you already got some you're in.
Yeah.
Maybe, but
Hopefully.
you could tell she was bothered. I mean, the chocolate frog thing bothered her. When the
Yeah.
maid came over and she saw the maid, she was like, "Phew, like this is just typical." Like
Yeah.
she was definitely bothered.
She was definitely bothered. She was bothered. And I'm hopeful since she said, she was like, well, maybe we'll get James Baldwin to come to the thing. So I'm like, oh, okay, so they're probably going to introduce these characters. We're probably going to see them in some episodes and stuff, which I would love to see.
I got a feeling from Mamie that she's not going to even bother try to invite him. I think she's just going to slide her way into getting what she wants and then dump Ms. Bradshaw, because it's questionable to me whether I know she may know Baldwin, but the question is to whether or not she could actually get him to write.
Oh, no, I
I
think
don't
she
know.
could get him because during that time, he was active.
Yeah, he
He
was.
was part of the Harlem Renaissance and stuff. And plus, he went before Congress to speak on behalf of Black people and stuff like that. So Adam Powell could probably get him. Like during that time, she probably could get him, and that'll probably be the only way she'll get on the board. And after that, she can dump that lady. You know.
Yeah, well, as
Mhm.
soon as we find out where Adam Powell is.
Yeah, well, he set up a meeting with old boy for her.
Yeah, from long distance.
So she still has a way to communicate with them. So I believe like the circles that they're in, I think that she'll be able to deliver him, and hopefully, Baldwin will read this woman
Yeah,
because he didn't
well,
bite his tongue.
I'm sure she wouldn't call him a chocolate frog in front of his face.
Of course
And
not.
she better not, because from what I know of Baldwin, he will read you a
I am
poem.
not your Negro.
That's right. That is right. Oh my God.
But anyway, I think we touched on a lot of the high points in my notes. Is there anything else that you guys want to touch on that I haven't?
Um,
Mm, I mean, I think the I'm a little bit concerned,
Okay.
right, with Stella,
Mm-hmm.
because as much as I understand that, father's acquiescing and saying, "Hey, if this is what you want," I mean, he got no choice. He got to leave anyway, but this is what you want and you think you're ready for it. I just don't know how the rest of the people gonna love dealing with a woman mob boss and all the things that come along with that. I feel like
Right.
she's gonna get questioned a lot, and unfortunately, it does go back to him saying, you're gonna have to do certain things you may not want to do, and she's gonna
Mm-hmm.
have to probably do that out the gate just to
Mm-hmm.
prove herself to get people to listen to her. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I worry a little bit about it because there's still a level of innocence that Stella has as a person. She's got a good heart, and you don't want to see that corrupted. But I feel like it's going to get corrupted. She might turn into a different version of herself that maybe
Mm-hmm.
she won't even like.
Yeah.
it's a man's game back, particularly in the 60s. They didn't expect women to be leaders, much less head gang members. So I kind of agree with you. It doesn't seem like beyond the immediacy of her family, Chin, how far she could go with the family being a head, a boss. I just don't see it. They didn't look at women that way. Hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. And something you said got me to thinking. Nothing better not happen to Teddy's mom. I know that because Stella, it just seemed like when she come around folks, stuff happens. Stuff happens, either jail or unalive and stuff like that. And I thought about when she was thanking her for your protection, and it's okay for me to come back. Now Stella's the boss. I was like, what if, and I don't even want to think it, but what if she ends up getting hurt behind some stuff with Stella or the people that, you know,
Yeah.
that were after her before realizing she's back. That would make me mad. Like you
Mm-hmm.
like we already lost Teddy. Nothing better not happen to Teddy's mom.
Or Teddy's brother.
Brother or whatever. Yeah. Nothing better not happen because of their relationship with you. You know? Because that's how they play. Like if they can't get you, they go after your loved ones or people that you care about and stuff like that. And so when I saw that, I was like, she back. Like,
I
is she
guess
gonna be good?
you will just have to see how far she gets into the game because if she starts ruffling feathers, I can definitely see them uh, going at her that way first. So it'll be
Or,
interesting. It's going to be real interesting throughout this series
Mm-hmm.
as to how they develop Frank and
mm,
Frank steps up and Bumpy steps down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really anxiously looking forward to how they do that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is definitely for them to have taken so long to come back. Uh, it's well worth it. Let me say that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah. I like where it's going, and and the whole Frank Lucas thing, introducing his character, is definitely going to it lends a spark to it because we all know that him and Bumpy eventually became inseparable.
Right.
But it's very interesting to see his character come in, and his character's got some flair to him, so that makes the
Mm-hmm.
show more exciting. But
Mm-hmm.
I definitely hope that we don't see anything happen to that lady either.
I
I don't
know.
like.
I know.
Yeah, that
I
would be
know.
that would be terrible.
I know. I know.
And Tiffany finds him extremely handsome too. So hey,
Oh, I'm talking about, yeah, Ron Flynn that
yeah, right,
plays.
right. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Listen, I used to watch How to Get Away with Murder with
Murder.
yeah, did
Yeah.
y'all watch
yeah.
that show?
Well,
With Viola Davis and stuff. He was
I
on
had to
there.
watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to watch it because my significant other watched it. So
Oh, that was a good show. And he was on there.
yeah, I know he was.
He
He
was on
was
there.
one of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
intern. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So anyway, we got to do who gets the hands and things like that. So who gets the hands episode.
Of course, Chin.
Chin, for
Gets the
sure.
hand.
I mean, I know I shouldn't say this.
But go ahead.
I'm seeing Elise, man. I have 15 in front of me. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
You give. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you know what, Ron? Look. You know what, Ron? Most times women are our helpmeet, but this time I think
I mean,
she came up
it's
short,
so
man.
bad
She
that
came
we
up
know he
short.
got found guilty. They didn't even tell us the time. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, yeah. She came up short, man. Yeah, it would have been. I think even in 24 hours, she could have said something to her dad. And say, "Hey, let them know 3 hours out. Before the 24th hour is over. Let me go talk to my dad. Get back to you and something." But you
I
just
feel
told
like
him
she
to.
should have went to him first.
Well, particularly once she found out that he only had the 24 hours, she said she should have said, "Don't say or do anything until I get back," and then spoke to Bumpy about his position, and I think that would have been much more helpful than having him in there for life. But hey,
Right. Plus, Bumpy's been in the joint, and Bumpy's had people in the joint. Like he could easily tell him, "Oh, well, you know what? Maybe that might be the deal he needs to take."
yeah, yeah. I mean, 15 years and life. That's no comparison.
No, no.
And not only that, if they gave him 15 years, he could be out early on good behavior. There is no good behavior when you get life.
Mm.
Very true. Either way, it's scary. You're gonna go
Oh,
in
I
with that,
agree.
but then come out with FUBU.
Oh,
Like it's gonna be different, but
I agree. I mean, there's no safety net. I mean, you got 15 years is a long time to be in hell. Mhm.
yes, it's true.
Yeah. Well, I guess so. Well, I'm wondering, I, I'm, I think I'm gonna give it to Frank
I was starting.
because he
Mm.
stole the Doogie from Bumpy. That's gonna
Mhm.
cause problems. The
Hmm.
problem for Bumpy is the problem with the Italians. That could start a war. So yeah, I gotta give Frank the hands for that. You know,
Absolutely.
and he deserved to beat down the chance and Pettigrew gave him.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but who are we giving the game ball to though?
Stella.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with
Yeah, I
that.
think Stella. That's an easy one.
Yeah,
Like
It's
Stella
easy.
because she
deserves
was a
that game
boss
ball.
this
Yeah.
episode. She all the way around. Got rid of dad, stopped, prevented a war,
Yeah.
you know, brokered a deal so that they can get the Doogie back, got Columbo back in the business. Yeah, game ball for
Okay.
sure.
I got one more, and this is contrary to what you said, Ron, but maybe we can give the hands and game ball to one person. And I'm going to give it to Elise. And the reason I say that is because she she did make every attempt possible to help Omar. In fact, we can say that she stopped him from being killed
She did.
because that in and of itself, I think deserves a game ball
She and her prayers to
notoriety.
Allah.
Well, not just that, but she did talk to her dad, and her dad was able
Hmm.
to get that message to the prisons to
Hmm.
save his life. So
Hmm.
while she gets the hand, she gets the game ball too. So I don't know if we've ever had that Stella Award to anyone where they got the hands and the
I don't
game
know.
ball.
I mean, we've had, I think we've had times when we were conflicted like that with other people and
Mhm.
stuff too, because they
But
did we did it with Marvin with Raising Cane. Like it
yeah,
was some days.
but I wasn't conflicted. I just think she gets both. So she'll be
Mhm.
smacked and get the game ball at the same time. So hey,
And I'm okay with that.
you
That's
don't
fair
get that?
because
Okay.
her heart was in the right place, and
Yes,
she
it was.
was definitely moving to try to do what she could to help
Yeah,
this man. So
yeah.
that's fair.
Okay.
That's what she said. Like, she just said, and remember what she said to Mamie about how she felt. Like, she
Hmm.
when she found the nation and stuff, and then, Malcolm and losing Malcolm, and now she can lose a man that she loved. Like, yeah. So I understand why you say that. I
Okay.
agree with that. But I think this has been a good discussion. I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Appreciate Ron H joining us again.
As always.
It's always a good time. We always have good conversations when he comes and stuff. So I appreciate you holding it down for Tierra. Y'all, he has his own YouTube channel too. Still Knicks fans. discussing sports and everything. Ron and I said we need to come on there, discuss some sports.
I just want to say thank you once again, guys, for having me. It's nothing. Whenever you guys need me, I'm always available for y'all. I drop what I can. If I can't, I can't make it, but I will definitely try to drop what I can because you guys like fam, and so I definitely enjoy what you guys do. That's the reason why I was drawn to you guys in the first place, and it's just been dope to be able to chop it up with you. And also, I thank you guys for also putting me in a position to be on roundtables and get to meet some of these people that we enjoy so much that entertain us. So thank you guys for everything you do.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. Because since you said it, I gotta remind folks to check out our playlist because we have interviews with a lot of people from these shows. Like for instance, I said it in the first episode, we interviewed Chris Brancato, who's the showrunner and writer on this show and executive producer. And we interviewed Ilfin Eshadera, who plays Mayme, and Antoinette Crow Legacy, who plays Elise. So please check out our playlist. And I've said before, like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media channels. We're on all of them. X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, push us out far and wide. And we appreciate your viewership. And so we look forward to seeing you guys next week to do episode 3 for Godfather of Harlem.
2 more things. Subscribe, and subscribe. That's what 3. And then the 4th thing is, Ron, you're no longer a special guest. You are a member. So,
fam.
So you're fam. So then, when you do come on, you're just another member of our illustrious program. So you're not a special guest anymore. I'm sorry I had to take that title from you. Yeah, you no longer wear that button.
That's okay, man. Listen, I thought I wore it well. I appreciate the next level.
Yeah, you upgraded very, very quickly. And
listen. Oh, and I wore my little shirt, because we always talk about my Syracuse shirt. This is my Final Four shirt. So, because we always talk about sports too, and that's how I was like, oh, Ron H is coming on, so let me rep for my school, my Final Four shirt.
And that's my colors anyway. I'm a Knick fan, a Met fan. Those are my colors.
But anyways, I guess we better go.
Thank you for watching. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.